Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. In today's video, we're going to explore something really interesting and exciting. Stay with us and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. In 1939, the United States saw a time of great change, a year poised between the end of the Great Depression and the looming uncertainties of World War II. The country was on the cusp of transformation, socially and economically, with a focus on recovery and the reawakening of industries. In this environment, the coin that would become a significant part of the nation's numismatic history was minted. That coin was the 1939 5-cent piece, also known as the Jefferson Nickel, which holds a fascinating place in both American history and the world of coin collectors. To understand the importance of this coin, we need to look at the period it was created. The 1939 nickel was not just another coin in circulation, it was a reflection of the times. In 1939, the United States was emerging from the harsh economic conditions of the Great Depression. There was still widespread unemployment, but new deals and programs from President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal were beginning to show positive results. As the economy began its slow climb, so did the confidence of the American people. It was a time when symbols of national pride and strength, such as the nickel, held greater significance. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the older Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. Designed by the artist Felix Schlag, the coin featured the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, who was a symbol of independence, democracy, and a newly formed nation. Jefferson's profile appeared on the obverse of the coin, while the reverse displayed his home, Monticello, a grand and iconic structure in Virginia that was a part of Jefferson's personal legacy. The 1939 coin was part of the first full year of this new design and was made with a sense of hope and renewal, representing a nation on the move forward. When you look at the design, it's clear why the Jefferson Nickel holds such a special place. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing bust of Thomas Jefferson, created by Schlag. The design is simple yet striking, with Jefferson's detailed facial features standing out, including his hair tied back in the style of the late 18th century, symbolizing his period in history. The legend, Liberty, arcs above Jefferson's head, and beneath his portrait, the coin reads, "In God We Trust." This inscription was part of a larger national effort to remind citizens of the importance of religion in American life, a theme that would gain further emphasis during the turbulent years leading up to the war. On the reverse side, the depiction of Monticello was equally remarkable. The building is presented in a clear, architectural style, a tribute to Jefferson's vision and his deep connection to the American founding. The words Monticello are etched above the structure, and beneath it is the phrase, E pluribus unum, a reminder of the nation's unity despite its diversity. The coin also bears the date of mintage and the denomination, 5 cents, underscoring its role as an everyday currency in the hands of citizens. But what made the 1939 nickel stand out among other years of Jefferson Nickels? One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1939 coin is the particular minting that occurred that year. The U.S. Mint, which produces coins in different locations across the country, struck the 1939 nickel at 3 separate mints: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The coins from each of these mints had subtle differences, but perhaps the most notable distinction was in the condition and production numbers of these coins. In 1939, the U.S. Mint produced a total of over 90 million Jefferson Nickels. However, not all of these coins are created equal. Coins struck at different mints, especially those made in Philadelphia, often had higher production numbers and slightly different characteristics. For collectors, these subtle differences play a major role in determining rarity and value. Mint marks, small letters on the reverse side of the coin, indicate where each coin was minted. Coins from Philadelphia typically don't have a mint mark, while coins from Denver carry the letter D, and those from San Francisco display the letter S. The 1939 Jefferson Nickel, like many coins from the era, had a relatively large mintage, meaning most of them were used in everyday transactions, spent and exchanged in millions of pockets across the country. As a result, most surviving examples of the 1939 nickel are in lower grades of condition, showing signs of wear and tarnish. However, in any coin collection, there are always those rarer, pristine examples that are incredibly valuable to collectors. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1939 Jefferson nickel is how it has fared in the numismatic world. Over the decades, coins from this era have been carefully sought after by collectors, especially in higher grades, which show minimal wear and retain much of their original detail. The condition of a coin is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Coins from the 1939 series, especially those with low mintages or those in exceptional condition, are highly sought after. And then there's the 1939 Jefferson Nickel that stands out above all others, the coin that has become legendary among collectors. A coin that has risen to an extraordinary value over time. You might be wondering, what makes this particular coin so special? Why does it fetch such a staggering price? Well, the answer lies in both its rarity and its state of preservation. Over the years, a number of these coins have been preserved in such remarkable condition that they are almost indistinguishable from a coin that just left the mint. Coins with mint marks from the San Francisco Mint, often more carefully struck, and coins in mint condition have become prize trophies for collectors willing to pay top dollar. In fact, the value of the 1939 nickel has increased so dramatically that, today, a well-preserved example can be worth a fortune. The record for the highest price ever paid for a 1939 nickel is nothing short of jaw-dropping, $166,000. This particular coin, graded at an astonishing MS 67, a grade that signifies an almost perfect coin, fetched this remarkable sum at auction. What makes it so valuable is its rarity and condition. Few coins from this era survive in such an immaculate state. It's a coin that has survived decades of circulation, handling, and time itself, retaining its beauty and historical significance. For the average collector, obtaining a 1939 Jefferson nickel in excellent condition is still an aspiration. Coins in good condition, those with minimal wear and tear, can still fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on the mint mark, grade, and the level of interest in the auction market. However, it's the coins in flawless condition, the ones that look as though they've never seen the light of day, that command the highest prices and continue to amaze numismatists around the world. The appeal of the 1939 nickel is not just monetary. It's a coin that carries with it the weight of history, the story of a nation recovering and moving forward into uncertain times. The Jefferson Nickel, with its iconic design and connection to a revered founding father, represents more than just currency. It symbolizes the enduring spirit of the United States during a pivotal moment in its history. For collectors, owning a 1939 nickel is like holding a piece of that history in their hands, a tangible reminder of the past and its legacy. So, whether you're a casual coin collector, a seasoned numismatist, or someone just beginning to explore the fascinating world of coins, the 1939 5-cent piece is a remarkable artifact. Its beauty, historical significance, and rarity make it one of the most desirable coins ever minted. And if you're lucky enough to own a well-preserved example, then you hold a true treasure, one that may one day increase in value even further, continuing its remarkable journey from the hands of everyday Americans to the vaults of the world's most exclusive collectors. The 1939 Jefferson Nickel is a perfect example of how a simple coin can transcend its value as currency to become a valuable piece of history, art, and investment. With its current value at an astonishing $166,000 for the highest graded coins, it's clear that this little 5-cent piece is anything but ordinary. So, the next time you come across a 1939 nickel in your pocket, remember, you might just be holding a small but valuable piece of American history, waiting for its moment to shine. The year 1943 was a pivotal moment in world history. The United States was fully engaged in World War II, with soldiers fighting on multiple fronts across the globe. At home, the country had transitioned from a period of recovery after the Great Depression into an era defined by wartime production and sacrifice. Factories were converted to manufacture weapons, and everyday citizens were doing their part by contributing to the war effort. It was against this backdrop of national unity, innovation, and hardship that one of the most interesting and unique coins in U.S. history was minted, the 1943 5-cent coin, also known as the steel penny. The story of the 1943 5-cent coin starts with a critical issue that the U.S. government faced during the early years of World War II. Due to the demand for copper for military uses, the U.S. Mint was tasked with finding a solution to a looming shortage of the metal that was traditionally used to make coins like the nickel and the penny. The situation became dire because copper was in high demand for ammunition, shell casings, and other military equipment. So, in an effort to conserve copper for wartime needs, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision. They would switch the composition of the penny and the 5-cent coin to alternative materials that would still serve as viable substitutes in the national coinage system. Thus, the 1943 steel penny was born, a coin composed of zinc-coated steel, which replaced the usual copper used in its production. This drastic change in material was designed to reduce the amount of copper used, enabling it to be allocated toward more urgent wartime needs. However, this new steel composition also led to an unintentional side effect. It created a coin that was far different from its predecessors in both appearance and functionality. The 1943 steel 5-cent coin, unlike its copper counterparts, had a distinctive, silvery look, which made it easily recognizable. The metallic tone, though visually striking, was less durable than the copper alloys previously used, which led to the coin being prone to corrosion, rust, and wear over time. While this didn't pose a problem during its circulation, it did impact the coin's longevity. The design of the 1943 5-cent piece was not immediately altered to account for the change in composition, but the classic design of the Jefferson Nickel, which had been in use since 1938, remained the same. The obverse of the coin featured a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, looking towards the future with a sense of determination and wisdom. This portrait of Jefferson, created by artist Felix Schlag, was a tribute to the nation's founding ideals. The reverse of the coin depicted Jefferson's home, Monticello, a symbol of his legacy as both a statesman and a visionary, as well as a tribute to his contribution to the nation's architectural and intellectual heritage. Despite its unchanged design, the 1943 steel nickel was a radical departure from its predecessors due to its composition. It's important to note that while the change in material was intended for efficiency, it also led to some unintended consequences that would later fuel its appeal among collectors. The coin was produced in significant numbers at the time, but the fact that it was made of zinc-coated steel instead of copper would contribute to its scarcity today, as many of these coins suffered from rusting, wear, and corrosion due to the nature of the material. 3 major U.S. Mint facilities were responsible for striking the 1943 5-cent coin: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. However, because of the large production of these coins, only a few specific varieties of 1943 steel nickels remain in excellent condition. The coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint bore no mint mark, while coins from the Denver Mint were marked with a D, and those from the San Francisco Mint had an S mint mark. It is the coins with the S mint mark that stand out the most among collectors, as they are relatively rare and often in better condition than their counterparts. The mintage of the 1943 5-cent coin was incredibly high, totaling nearly 120 million across all 3 mints. But the large mintage did not guarantee that the coins would survive in good condition. Most 1943 steel nickels were spent quickly, used in everyday transactions, and, like many coins from this era, wore down over time. The exposure to the elements also played a significant role in the survival rate of these coins. Because steel is susceptible to rust, many of the 1943 nickels that were circulated during and after World War II were damaged or destroyed. Finding a 1943 steel nickel that survived in pristine condition became a rare event. It wasn't long before collectors and numismatists started to take notice of the rarity of well-preserved examples of this unique coin. By the time collectors began to focus on the 1943 steel nickels, the majority of them had already deteriorated, leading to a scarcity of high-quality specimens. Those that were still in good condition, especially those with minimal wear, quickly became prized among numismatists. These coins were not only rare in their composition and appearance but also stood as an artifact of a critical moment in American history, one that spoke to the wartime sacrifices made by the nation and the creativity required to adapt to the challenges of the war effort. The 1943 steel 5-cent coin remains a fascinating piece of U.S. history. As the years passed, the appeal of the coin grew exponentially. The unique steel composition, combined with the historical context of its creation during World War II, made it a perfect object of interest for collectors. The survival rate of these coins in high grades is extremely low, and this rarity is a key factor in their value. Coins from the San Francisco Mint, for example, are considered particularly desirable due to their lower mintage and the fact that they were produced with a higher level of care. Today, these coins are among the most sought-after and valuable examples of 20th-century U.S. coinage. The value of the 1943 steel 5-cent coin can be quite impressive, depending on the condition and rarity of the specific piece. While most examples of the coin are valued at just a few dollars in circulated condition, coins in near-mint or mint condition can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. The highest-graded coins, those that are nearly flawless, are worth significantly more, with some reaching prices as high as $148,000. This astronomical value is often seen in coins that are graded at the highest level, such as MS-68 or MS-69, where the coin appears almost as if it were just minted, with no visible signs of wear, corrosion, or damage. The price tag of $148,000 for a 1943 steel 5-cent coin reflects not just its rarity and condition, but also the growing interest in historical U.S. coins as valuable collector's items. For numismatists, finding a coin like the 1943 steel nickel in such exceptional condition is the ultimate prize. It's a rare combination of history, craftsmanship, and scarcity that makes this coin stand out from others in the market. Beyond its impressive monetary value, the 1943 steel nickel carries a deeper significance. It serves as a tangible reminder of the sacrifices and challenges of wartime America, as well as the creativity and resourcefulness required to adapt to the national crisis. The story of the 1943 steel penny is one of innovation born out of necessity, a coin that reflects the spirit of a country at war and its determination to persevere. For collectors, owning a 1943 steel 5-cent coin is more than just an investment in a rare object. It is owning a piece of history, a link to a time when the world was changing and the United States was rising to meet the challenges of a global conflict. As you hold a 1943 steel nickel in your hand, whether you're lucky enough to own one or just admiring it from afar, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding a piece of history, a small but significant reminder of a time when the world was at war and the American people did everything they could to contribute to the effort. And for those who find themselves with a pristine, high-grade example of this coin, it's more than just a historical artifact, it's a valuable asset that continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. In 1949, the United States was a nation on the verge of new beginnings. The end of World War II had ushered in a new era of prosperity, with the economy surging, and American society was shifting rapidly. It was a time of cultural transformation and technological progress, and at the same time, there was a great desire to honor the country's history and ideals. The 1949 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson Nickel, captures this moment of post-war optimism and the country's growing sense of security and achievement. To understand the importance of the 1949 nickel, it is essential to examine the historical context in which it was created. The late 1940s were a period of tremendous change in the United States. While the country was adjusting to the aftermath of a devastating global conflict, there was also a surge in economic growth and industrialization. Veterans returned from overseas, eager to settle down and start families, while the country as a whole began to experience an economic boom that would last for decades. This was also the dawn of the Cold War, as tensions between the US and the Soviet Union began to shape global politics. The 1949 5-cent coin, minted at a time of national renewal, was part of a series of coins that honored the legacy of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, a man who embodied the spirit of independence, democracy, and the early growth of the nation. Since 1938, the U.S. Mint had been producing the Jefferson Nickel, a design that replaced the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation for over 2 decades. The coin's design was created by artist Felix Schlag, and it quickly became one of the most iconic and beloved coins in American history. On the obverse of the 1949 nickel, you'll find a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. He is depicted with remarkable detail, his face radiates a sense of wisdom, and his hair is tied back in the 18th century style, capturing the essence of the time during which Jefferson lived. The engraving of Jefferson's face was meant to reflect his status as one of the key architects of the United States, both as a founding father and as the author of the Declaration of Independence. Above his head is the word liberty, with the phrase, "In God we trust," appearing beneath. This reflects the nation's commitment to religious freedom, a concept that Jefferson championed throughout his life. The coin also bears the year of mintage, 1949, emphasizing its place in a specific moment in time, just a few years after the end of the war. On the reverse side of the coin, we find an image of Jefferson's home, Monticello, which was not just a symbol of his personal legacy but also a representation of the values he held dear: liberty, democracy, and intellectual pursuit. Monticello is depicted in a simplified, almost architectural style, a tribute to Jefferson's belief in the importance of knowledge and reason. Beneath Monticello, the words "e pluribus unum" can be seen, a Latin phrase that translates to "out of many, one," representing the union of states and the diversity of the American people. The coin also features the denomination, 5 cents, and the mint mark indicating where the coin was produced. Though the 1949 Jefferson Nickel retained its design, it was unique in other ways. During this period, the U.S. Mint had a process of experimenting with various methods of minting and producing coins, and as a result, coins from different years sometimes exhibited subtle variations. The 1949 coin was one of the last issues before the transition to a new coinage system that would be introduced in the 1950s. It was also a time when Americans were becoming more aware of the growing collector market, and interest in coins from earlier periods began to rise. In 1949, the U.S. Mint struck over 58 million 5-cent pieces. These coins were produced at 3 major mint facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Philadelphia Mint coins typically did not feature a mint mark, while those struck in Denver bore the D mint mark, and coins from the San Francisco Mint carried the S. While these distinctions may seem small, they are crucial in determining a coin's rarity and collector value today. In general, coins with the San Francisco Mint mark are considered to be the most valuable, as they typically had lower mintage numbers and were struck with slightly better care and attention to detail. Despite the relatively high mintage of the 1949 Jefferson Nickel, most of these coins were used in everyday circulation. They were spent by the millions, exchanged in commerce, and eventually worn down or destroyed. As a result, only a small percentage of the 1949 nickels survived in pristine condition. Many of the surviving coins show signs of wear, tarnish, or even environmental damage. The coins that have remained in exceptional condition, however, are highly sought after by collectors. A well-preserved 1949 nickel is a rare gem in the numismatic world. As we fast forward through the decades, the 1949 Jefferson Nickel began to gain attention from collectors who recognized its potential value. The coins produced in the 1940s were still widely available, but as more time passed, fewer and fewer coins in excellent condition could be found. The appeal of the 1949 nickel, as with other coins from this era, lies in the rarity of high-grade examples, particularly those that remain in near mint or mint condition. The process of grading coins is essential in determining their value in the collector market. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin with no visible flaws or wear. Coins in the highest grades, those that show no signs of wear and retain most of their original luster, are far more valuable than those in lower grades, where wear is visible and the coin has lost some of its original detail. As you might imagine, the 1949 Jefferson Nickel is highly sought after in higher grades, particularly those with minimal wear and excellent surface quality. Among collectors, the 1949 Jefferson Nickel stands out as a particularly important coin for several reasons. First, it is part of the long-running Jefferson Nickel series, which remains one of the most beloved and iconic U.S. coin series. Second, the historical significance of the coin cannot be overstated. It was minted during a time of immense change and growth for the country. The post-war economic boom, the rise of the middle class, and the growing global influence of the United States all played a role in shaping the world in which the 1949 nickel was created. The coin's appeal is also driven by its rarity in high-grade conditions. Coins that are well preserved and retain much of their original beauty are considered prize specimens by numismatists. As the years go by, the value of these coins continues to rise. While a common 1949 nickel may be worth only a few dollars in circulated condition, those in uncirculated or high-grade condition can fetch prices much higher. In fact, the highest graded 1949 Jefferson Nickels have sold for prices as high as $132,000 at auction. This remarkable value is driven by the rarity of the coin in such exceptional condition. Collectors know that finding a coin from this era that has remained in such pristine shape for over 7 decades is an extraordinary achievement. The high value of the 1949 Jefferson Nickel also reflects the growing interest in coins from the mid-20th century, as more collectors and investors look to diversify their portfolios with rare and historical pieces of U.S. currency. While the 1949 nickel may never have achieved the level of fame or notoriety that some other coins have garnered, its value and appeal have only grown with time. For those fortunate enough to own a high-grade example of the 1949 Jefferson Nickel, they possess a coin that is not just valuable in monetary terms, but also historically significant. It's a piece of U.S. history, a tangible link to a transformative time in the nation's past, and a lasting symbol of the ideals of democracy and independence that continue to define the United States today. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1949 Jefferson Nickel offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of American coinage, a reminder of the country's post-war prosperity, and an exciting opportunity to own a valuable and rare piece of history. For those lucky enough to find a high-grade example, the 1949 5-cent coin is an investment that continues to impress, both for its beauty and for its remarkable value, which today stands at a stunning $132,000. The year 1952 marked a time of transformation in America, a time when the world was still recovering from the Second World War and the country was shifting into a new chapter of its history. The post-war era brought with it a surge of economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural change. Families were settling into suburban homes, the baby boom was in full swing, and the United States was beginning its rise as a dominant global superpower in the midst of the Cold War. It was against this backdrop of prosperity, optimism, and change that the 1952 5-cent coin was minted. Also known as the Jefferson Nickel, this coin would go on to capture a moment in U.S. history, becoming a symbol of the nation's evolving identity and an object of fascination for collectors worldwide. The Jefferson Nickel series, first introduced in 1938, was one of the most enduring and iconic coin designs in American numismatics. The 1952 5-cent coin was part of this series, which was named after Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who was also the author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson was chosen as the subject of the nickel for his significant role in shaping the early republic, and his legacy as a statesman and intellectual leader was commemorated through the coin's design. The 1952 nickel features a portrait of Jefferson on the obverse, while the reverse depicts his beloved home, Monticello, which became a symbol of his contributions to American history. The 1952 nickel, while striking and memorable, was part of an ongoing series that reflected the continuity and stability of the U.S. mint's coinage during a time of great social change. This coin was minted during a year when the country was on the brink of the Korean War, when the fear of communism was growing, and when the civil rights movement was beginning to take shape. Despite the turbulence of the era, coins like the 1952 nickel carried a sense of constancy. Coins were still being produced from the same tried-and-true designs that had graced American currency for nearly 2 decades. The Jefferson nickel itself became synonymous with the values of the American Republic, democracy, liberty, and a commitment to progress. On the obverse of the 1952 Jefferson nickel, we see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, created by the artist Felix Schlag. The design is elegant and timeless, showing Jefferson with his characteristic features, his high forehead, prominent nose, and distinct facial features that capture his intellectual and dignified nature. Above Jefferson's profile, the word "liberty" is inscribed, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears beneath his portrait, emphasizing the nation's commitment to religious faith. The year of minting, 1952, is located just beneath the phrase, "In God We Trust," placing the coin firmly in its historical context. On the reverse side of the coin, we find the image of Jefferson's home, Monticello, set against a simple but powerful backdrop. Monticello, which Jefferson himself designed and built, was a symbol of his vision for America, an idealized space of knowledge, reason, and personal freedom. The reverse also includes the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the states under the federal government. Beneath Monticello is the inscription, 5 cents, marking the coin's denomination. Although the design of the 1952 Jefferson nickel was virtually identical to earlier versions, the coins minted that year carried with them the unique marks of the era. The U.S. Mint, at this time, was producing large numbers of coins for general circulation to meet the demands of the growing population and economy. The 1952 nickel was minted in several locations across the country, with coins being struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of these coins, while the Denver and San Francisco Mints were responsible for smaller quantities. Coins from the Denver Mint were marked with a D, while those struck in San Francisco bore the S mint mark. The minting process used by the U.S. Mint at the time was highly efficient, as it had been refined over the years to ensure that large numbers of coins could be produced quickly and accurately. The mintage of the 1952 Jefferson nickel was substantial, with a total of approximately 57 million coins produced across all 3 mints. In general, the production of coins in such high quantities during the early 1950s meant that the 1952 nickel was not a rare coin in terms of availability at the time. However, over the years, the number of well-preserved examples began to dwindle. As coins were circulated and spent in everyday transactions, they became worn, scratched, and damaged. For collectors, this wear and tear meant that only a small fraction of the original mintage survived in excellent condition. Despite the fact that the 1952 Jefferson nickel was produced in large numbers, the coin holds significant appeal for collectors due to its historical context and the inherent beauty of its design. The Jefferson Nickel series remains one of the most beloved in U.S. coinage, and the 1952 nickel is a key piece in that legacy. It represents a moment in time when America was beginning to assert itself as a global power, yet still rooted in the ideals that had founded the nation more than 170 years prior. As such, coins from this era are highly collectible, particularly in better grades. Grading is an essential aspect of the numismatic world, and it plays a central role in determining the value of coins like the 1952 nickel. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect coin. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Coins that are in circulation or show signs of wear will be graded much lower than those that are in mint condition. For the 1952 Jefferson nickel, the value of the coin varies widely based on its grade. In circulated condition, a 1952 nickel might only be worth a few dollars, but coins in uncirculated or near-mint condition can command far higher prices. The most valuable 1952 Jefferson Nickels are those that have been graded in the highest levels, such as MS 66, MS 67, or even MS 68. These coins exhibit minimal to no wear, maintaining most of their original luster and features. Coins with high-quality surfaces and sharp details are in high demand among collectors. Of particular interest are those with the S mint mark, as the San Francisco Mint often produced coins with a higher degree of attention to detail, resulting in specimens with better eye appeal. The 1952 Jefferson Nickel is particularly prized by collectors who seek coins with historical significance and a connection to American heritage. As a part of the broader Jefferson Nickel series, the 1952 nickel is a cornerstone of the collection for many numismatists. Collectors often seek out the highest quality examples of these coins to complete their sets, and as such, a well-preserved 1952 nickel can be worth a considerable amount in the marketplace. The value of the 1952 Jefferson nickel today can be impressive, particularly when the coin is in exceptional condition. For example, a well-preserved MS 66 or MS 67 1952 nickel can easily fetch thousands of dollars at auction. However, the most exceptional examples of the 1952 Jefferson nickel, those in pristine, nearly perfect condition, can reach values that far exceed typical expectations. Coins that are graded in MS 68 condition or better have been known to fetch prices approaching $120,000. These coins are highly sought after, not just for their rarity, but for the history they represent. A 1952 Jefferson nickel in such superb condition is a true gem in the world of coin collecting. The rarity and value of these coins continue to grow as more time passes, and fewer high-quality examples remain in circulation. The scarcity of coins in mint condition has led to a rise in prices, making the 1952 Jefferson nickel one of the more valuable coins from the mid-20th century. For collectors, owning a high-grade example of this coin is not just about acquiring a piece of history, it's an investment in a rare and valuable asset that has only become more desirable as the years go by. In addition to its impressive value, the 1952 Jefferson nickel carries with it a deeper sense of historical and cultural significance. It serves as a reminder of a time in America when the nation was both growing and grappling with new challenges. It is a reflection of the era's optimism, progress, and the enduring belief in the ideals of freedom and democracy. For those who collect coins, the 1952 nickel represents an opportunity to own a tangible piece of that history, one that will continue to captivate numismatists, investors, and history enthusiasts for generations to come. Today, the 1952 Jefferson nickel remains one of the most iconic coins in American history, not only for its beauty and design but also for the lasting legacy it represents. With its value now reaching as high as $120,000 for the highest graded examples, it is clear that this coin will continue to be a valuable treasure for collectors, a symbol of the resilience and prosperity of post-war America, and a lasting tribute to the vision of Thomas Jefferson. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or someone simply intrigued by the rich history of American coinage, the 1952 Jefferson nickel holds a special place in the hearts and collections of many.